Todd Shapiro Show. Canada Laughs. SiriusXM 168.
And now it's time for another amazing guest.
All right, we haven't had him on in a while, and I actually really like him. He's very, you know what it is? He's very well spoken. You're a very calming man. Jordan St. Clair, how you doing, Jordan?
Oh, really good. Yeah, really good. Thanks so much. That's so nice.
Yeah, no, do you get that? Do you hear that? Does your wife tell you, Jordan, you're a nice guy? Do you hear that?
My wife, maybe less now. We've been married for a long time, but I think in the beginning, yeah, that was more common 10 years ago.
You guys are still on speaking terms, though?
Still good. Yeah,
good, great.
She still texts me and calls.
Nice. The texts are nice, aren't they?
Make sure you go and check out, it's Jordy St. Clair's where you can follow him, IE on Jordy. And congrats on everything going on with Tweed. And I know that you've done this, and I've seen the tweets. I've actually been retweeting some of the tweets because it's such a wonderful thing you're doing. Why don't you tell us, Jordan, about the Tweed Collective?
The Tweed Collective, sure. So the Tweed Collective is sort of our take on 420. So 420 is, in the cannabis world, it's a day to celebrate, activism and progress and to protest laws. And all over the country, people gather and smoke weed. In the very early versions of this, it was kind of like a safety in numbers thing. If you show up on Parliament Hill with 600 people and everyone lights a joint, they can't arrest you all. So it started as that, and it's always had a little cachet in the cannabis community around a great time to smoke a joint. But we were sort of thinking about how we can play on 420. So what we came up with, based on a couple of initiatives that we had already been running at Tweed, is this Tweed Collective, where over the next 4 years, we're going to give out $20 million across Canada for community building projects. And whether that is community building to support the arts, or if it's community building to have a new community garden in a small town that might not have one yet, that's sort of the type of thing that we're looking for. And we just launched it a week ago today. So we've gotten hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of applications, and we're just in the process of sorting them out and trying to find the best ones. But it's inspiring stuff in there.
Yeah, congrats on doing that. And can people still submit stuff? Is there an opportunity to do that, to say, hey, my town could use a yard full of marijuana plants or something?
Totally. Yeah. So I don't know if we're gonna fund a community-based cannabis garden.
No, I know.
But if people do want to go and put their ideas in, it's tweedcollective.com. So you can go and learn a little bit more about the program. There's a form on the website where you can send us your ideas and your names and all that. And then we're going to pick some, and we're going to just start rolling it out and start cutting some checks. Yeah, because we got to get going. It's $5 million a year for the next 4 years to total 20.
Are you sure you guys want to give that much? That sounds like a lot of money. Yeah, man, I love that you guys are giving back, and what a nice thing to do. Like, especially what I love about it, and I watch this happen is it shows it puts a face to not only obviously Tweed and canopy growth and stuff, but it's about the stigma still, right, for a lot of people. And you're like, oh, wait a second, here now is one of the biggest LPs on the planet, if not the biggest, and look what they're doing, and it helps sort of for maybe there is an older couple in a small town and didn't know much about it, and like, wow, these companies give back this way, and that's a really nice thing, because the stigma, and Jordan, where I stand on this, it's such BS at this point, but still people have it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I definitely agree with what you're saying. There's a lot of stigma that's left. I would say that you are one of the few media outlets where, when you have somebody from a cannabis show on, it doesn't start with a Grateful Dead track and a bunch of images of young kids smoking 20-gram joints. Like, there's a ton of stigma that's still left out there, and that's exactly it. Like, we're trying to make good first impressions about a new industry. So this is a way where we think the scope and the scale of it's big, so we can do a lot. And we can do it across Canada, right? Because we started in Smiths Falls, and you've been out to the facility, but we've got a lot more now. We've got places in St. John's. We've got places in Fredericton. We've got 2 big places outside of Vancouver. So we've got to match the same level of community giving that we do here at headquarters in all of the other towns where we operate. So it felt like it needed to be a big, substantial amount of money. And 20 million was just, it fit the bill, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do. And you know, that's the other little stuff that people often forget about is the job creation. And that's, it's just unbelievable. Like, you know, you guys single-handedly helped save the town, didn't you?
Oh God, that always gives me a little bit of. I always am awkward about that one.
Okay, that's unfair. Yeah, I know that.
One.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a lot, and I think like the folks that live in this town have done a hell of a lot of good work. You know, to pull themselves up by their bootstraps too.
For sure, they're grateful you're there though. Let's say that.
For sure, yeah.
Grateful Dead. Oh yeah, Jordan, I went there. How's Mayor Humdinger doing? You still watching Paw Patrol?
Oh, geez, no, I haven't been watching too much. I thought you were talking about our mayor. I was like, oh,
no. It's sort of why I thought of it, a small town, and I thought because Jordan's a dad. We always joke about Paw Patrol, how annoying Paw Patrol is.
I'm familiar with the show.
George St. Clair is with us. So the 420 obviously, you know, came and went, and are we closer? What's sort of the next steps towards legalization?
Oh, next steps is just the finer points, right? Like I think a lot of people are bought in. When you talk to people at different government levels, it doesn't feel like there's pushback at this point. It just feels about, you know, figuring out the best way to actually make it happen. So we're talking to provinces. We're trying to get our orders together. We're growing an incredible amount of cannabis. Our biggest harvest ever will be in about 5 or 6 weeks because we shipped a whole jumbo jet full of clones over to BC to plant one of the big greenhouses. We also did that on 420 for a bit of promotion. They're all grown out and they're smelling really good and looking really good. So we're gonna be able to harvest them in a few weeks here, and that'll be huge. Like that will represent the largest harvest that we've ever done, and it'll probably be enough to satisfy, you know, like all of PEI, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia all at once.
Unbelievable. Really unbelievable.
So you rented a jumbo jet. Who do you even call? Enterprise?
I
didn't realize.
Even call.
Oh, my God. The Army? Who do you have to call for that?
Didn't you have some Army on one of them?
It's weird. I'm about as Canadian as it gets, and whenever I see a gun, I take a step back. But yeah, there was armored guards that escorted it. They were on refrigerated trucks, and if you ask people in the trucking industry, the shorthand for refrigerated truck is a reefer. That's what took the plants to the airport, and then literally we got a Boeing 767. All the seats were out. We loaded it up with clones and flew it across in the middle of the night.
Wow, a lot of people volunteering for that job, eh? Helping out.
Yeah.
Hey, Jordan, I'll work extra overtime. Come on. That is really spectacular. I think, and I forget who we were talking to last time from you guys, but it might have even been Bruce Linton. Just to fathom that, but knowing that it's obviously fully legal, just to fathom that, like the progress that we've made in this country. Right. Because in the day, if there was a plane with buds on it, you know, no one knew about it.
That's like Capone moving liquor back in the day.
Yeah. Really, I don't know. It continues to. It sort of just excites me as we get there, and all the things you're doing to lead us there too. Well, Jordan, it's great to catch up with you. I before you go, I've been pitching your team, and this is one thing I really want to do. And I don't know if you've caught wind of it in sort of your promotional meetings or whatever, but I want to do like a Cribs episode where I get to go to all the facilities and, like, you know, instead of opening the fridge or whatever, but it's just me going in there and really exploring it, but also on sort of from a layman perspective and just understanding it, and then, you know, how the growth process works.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get it done.
All right.
Yeah, I would love it.
That'd be cool, right? Like a total Cribs, but like I want flashy edits and stuff.
As long as you don't say this is where the magic happens. You can't say that. That'll just ruin it.
I won't.
Now you put it in his head. He's going to say it.
I have to say it. That's my tag. That's my line going out every time.
Can we take Exhibit, too? Do a whole, like, pimp my pot factory thing going on here?
Yeah, I want to pimp the pot factory.
Let's make it nice for the people that work there, you know? Get some turntables, some nice couches.
Spinny rims.
Yeah.
I want a lot of spinny rims. Okay, Jordan.
Kids on that show, the poor kids on that show, they'd be like, hey, you know, I kind of like I kind of like giraffes. And then they're like, all right, fucking giraffes everything. Giraffes windows. And the kids
Your parents are Christmas.
George St. Clair, everyone. That's great. And congrats again on Tweed and the Tweed Collective. And people can just go to tweedcollective.com if you have any ideas. They're looking for artists, creators, builders with bold ideas and for your communities. And come share the vision at tweedcollective.com. Jordan, have a great weekend.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Cheers, man.
Okay.
Bye.
The Todd Shapiro Show. Canada Laughs. SiriusXM 168.